What's going on, everybody? It's just another day in the kitchen, back with another episode, and today we're taking a look at Playboi Carti's very controversial Narcissist merch release. Now, if you didn't know, this dropped just short of a year ago, last October 2022, and it got a lot of controversy. In this video, of course, we're going to take a look at some of the pieces, including the pieces that Carti is wearing here in this photo. And like I said, there is a whole lot of controversy when it comes to this drop, so make sure you guys go ahead and like and subscribe. Now, before we get started, I did also share a video in the past month where I included my story about how I met Carti on his first tour and also included some rare footage from that one, so make sure you guys stay tuned. Now, I wanted to start off this video kind of prefacing the Narcissist merch tour with the actual fake drop that occurred in September of 2021. The first item, if you didn't see, was a motorcycle racing helmet for $5,000, and these are some other Narcissist branded merch pieces. Now, personally, I remember when this merch went live, and I didn't think a whole lot of it other than the fact that I wish that they kind of did a little bit more with it. And here's Uzi wearing one of the Narcissist bomber jackets we just saw that was available. Now, you might be wondering why I mentioned that this was a fake drop, and we're going to talk about it in just a second. And there are videos on YouTube of people proving just how lazy this merch drop was, given the fact that they were able to find the same stock products that are available for dirt cheap on AliExpress with just the Narcissist logo slapped on it, including the $5,000 helmet. And while some fans were excited about the drop itself, the actual Narcissist merch was going viral for the wrong reasons. And I think Playboi Carti must have seen that it was going viral for people hating on it and trashing it. So much so that he actually released a statement on his Twitter, which was the screenshot here the same day, basically saying that his website was hacked and that he didn't approve of any of the final designs. Now, I don't know about you, but personally, like I said, I think that some of those Narcissist pieces were a little bit lackluster, and let me know in the comments what you think. And while that drop was in 2021, things started to get exciting for Playboi Carti fans last year when he made public his Finsta Opium. As you can see from these posts, it featured both himself as well as some of the producers that are signed to Opium and that he's collaborated with, wearing some of the merch that you'll see in this video. And while there was some controversy with that initial Narcissist drop in September of 2021, you'll see here in just a little bit why this one was so crazy and went so viral itself just last year. Now, to start off with the merch drop, we've got this interesting bomber jacket, which is basically a crop top, for a cool retail price of $395. Now, personally, I don't know that I would get much wear out of this here in Florida, given it's hot as hell, but as you can see, this was definitely something different and more so up Playboi Carti's style and alley over the last few years. Now, one thing I did want to point out about all of these pieces that you'll notice is that they're all made in Los Angeles, which is a first or something that you don't see too often with artists, given that they're actually producing their pieces here in the US. As for shipping times, as you can see, I believe it was anywhere from 8 to 10 or 8 to 11 weeks, which is pretty standard. Now, things start to get a little crazy with this drop when it comes to these mugshots here, and I wanted to get your opinion on what you guys think about this whole controversy 1 year later. And as you can see from the actual information on the screen, at first these mugshots were something that was kind of funny to look at, given that this guy was known as the Ninja, and he had these crazy face tattoos. However, as this drop went out and people started to do more research, there's honestly some really crazy things that have to do with some of these people that are featured on the mugshot tees, and I want to get your opinion on what you think about it. And one thing I want to point out is the fact that Carti was also recently arrested, and I think that he missed out on the opportunity to sell his own mugshot on a tee because those always go hard, and personally, who wouldn't want to rock that one? Now, like I said, some of these pieces are definitely controversial given that the mugshots that are featured on them have some crazy stories that are associated with them. And I do want to point out that for the pieces that are not controversial, like that Narcissist logo we just saw on the white tank top, I personally really dig it because it reminds me of the whole black metal aesthetic that I grew up listening to. And while some of these mugshots are a little controversial given the history behind the people on the photos, I don't think that Carti necessarily knew what he was getting himself into by putting their faces on the actual merch itself. I think there's a whole discussion to be made about whether or not he can justify $200 for these pieces, and although they are made in the US, especially LA, and he apparently designed them himself, I don't think that there's anything in particular that's super crazy about them. And I also wanted to point out that the story behind this most recent mugshot has to do with the man with the purse being busted for you know what. Now, unfortunately for him, this is something that's going to be online for basically ever, but this one was a more lighthearted story, which I can kind of appreciate. Now, this next one might be the worst of them all when it comes to the mugshots, and I think the one that Playboi Carti got the most kind of flack for. Now, if you've noticed, I purposely haven't said any of these people's names because they don't deserve the internet search, but I do want you to check out what I highlighted here in this photo so you can see just exactly what this guy had his photo taken for and why this wasn't a great idea to have it as a piece of merch. And while I might think it's not the best piece of merch, apparently other people don't, so I wanted to include this photo of Ruby Rose, one of Playboi Carti's exes, wearing this guy's mugshot on her body, which I think is honestly insane, especially from what it looks like, the fact that she's in public. But again, she might not have known just exactly what kind of an abuser and freak that guy was. Now, for what might be my favorite mugshot, other than the guy that had the stuff in the pipe, might be this lady right here. And as you can see, it's another thing to be said that a lot of these pieces are $195, which is quite steep for a hoodie. Now, I also haven't pointed out the fact that the model that's being used in all of these pieces was definitely berated online, and a lot of people had a lot of bad things to say about him, calling him names from anything from Voldemort to things I can't say in this video. Now, when it comes to this lady right here, this is her story, and I think that although it's kind of funny, I don't condone anybody, doing a DUI, especially while having their kids in the car, so definitely don't do that one, guys. Now, for some of my more favorite pieces to round out this actual drop, we've got these hats here, which personally I think are pretty hard. Here's some photos of Carti actually modeling this Narcissist merch, which I highlighted earlier in the video, and personally I think is always very important, because if the artists themselves don't rock it and don't believe in it, then why should you as a fan support it unless you of course like it and think that it's dope? And I think it's cool that we get these kind of snapshots of Carti wearing his own merch, because his whole persona is definitely about being mysterious, along with his aesthetic. Now, I did want to point out that this Narcissist hat also did feature a black and white one, which I think is pretty raw and something that I kind of wish I had picked up earlier last year when this one had dropped. Now, the price of this one is $80, which is pretty steep in comparison when most Travis Scott hats start at $45 and go up to about $55. So let me know in the comments so far which one you think is better. To follow that last Narcissist logo hat, we've got these two right here, which feature that logo both on the front and the back, both in red and white, which I think is pretty dope if you want something neutral and simple. And this is definitely something that's a little bit less loud and controversial that you can wear in public without feeling bad about it. Now, like I said, the models in this photo, this guy right here definitely got a lot of shit online for people that were disrespecting him, and I'm not going to do that in this video, but this right here is my personal favorite piece from this actual merch drop. Now, me myself, I'm not a big fan of wearing tank tops or having my arms exposed, but I think that it's pretty dope, especially given that you can see that Narcissist logo in full effect. And I also wanted to include this photo of Carti wearing his merch, which again, I mentioned is always important. Now, whenever Carti is on tour, you can't expect him to wear, of course, pieces that have to do with his aesthetic, but here you can see him wearing both that black and white hat along with the black and white tee that we just saw, which I think is pretty hard. Now, if you made it this far, let me know what you think about this Narcissist merch and what you think about this era that Carti's in. Personally, it's been very interesting to see his evolution throughout the years, and I wish that we kind of got that pink logo hat that he's got on in this photo right here. As always, guys, thank you so much for cooking with the kitchen. Let me know what you guys think about this video and if you picked up any of these merch pieces. And again, I just thought this one would be an interesting video given that we're about to come on 1 year since this actually dropped. As always, guys, thank you so much for cooking with the kitchen. Stay safe out here. It's lit. Straight up. And peace.